God bless you today. I want you to pay attention because what I'm about to say will change the way you see your trials. You may feel broken, shattered, like life has crushed your dreams, like the world has turned its back on you. But I am here to tell you brokenness is not rejection. No matter how far you feel you've fallen, God has not abandoned you. He sees your cracks, he sees your pain, and he is not finished with you yet. Today on David Diga Hernandez Teachings, we are going to uncover how God takes the broken pieces of your life and transforms them into power, into purpose, into a testimony that will shake the heavens. I need you to stay with me until the very end, because your breakthrough is waiting in the fire of your trial. You are chosen, and this message is for you. Brokenness is not rejection when life hits you hard, when circumstances seem too heavy to carry. It's easy to feel abandoned, to think that God has turned his back on you. But I tell you today, brokenness is not rejection. The enemy wants you to believe that your failures, your mistakes, your shattered dreams mean you are worthless, that you are unloved. That is a lie straight from hell. God does not discard broken vessels, he chooses them. He sees the cracks, the fractures, the pieces of your life scattered on the floor, and he says, this one I will use. Every moment you feel broken is a moment God is writing your story, shaping your character, refining your spirit. The trials you face, the betrayals, the pain, the heartbreak, they are not the end of your journey. They are the workshop of the Almighty. It is in the silence, in the midnight cries, in the places where you feel weakest, that God is molding you into a vessel that can carry his glory. Do not despise the broken moments. They are sacred. They are holy. They are the very places where the presence of God meets you and begins to build strength that the world cannot steal, cannot touch, and cannot destroy. Brokenness does not mean forsaken. It means chosen. God sees potential, not just pain. Many people live their lives focused only on the suffering, the setbacks, the wounds that cut deep, and they miss the truth that God sees more than the pain. He looks beyond your failures, beyond the tears, beyond the disappointment, and he sees the potential hidden inside you. The world measures you by what you have lost, by the scars you carry, but God measures you by what he can do through you. Every trial, every struggle, every storm you walk through is like a seed being planted in the soil of your soul. And while you may see only barrenness, God sees fruit, he sees purpose, he sees a destiny being prepared. You may feel worthless, unqualified, unworthy, but God looks at your brokenness and says, this one I can use. He does not just patch the wounds. He transforms them into power. He does not just forgive failure. He repurposes it for greatness. The pain you are experiencing is not your identity. It is the stage for the potential God is releasing. The chains that bind you today are being fashioned into tools for your future victory. Do not despise your trials, for God's eyes are on the promise that your pain cannot contain. Pain is not random, and suffering is not meaningless. Every wound, every loss, every disappointment carries a message from God, a purpose that the enemy does not want you to see. You may look at your life and wonder, why me? Why this trial? Why this heartbreak? But I declare to you today, God does not waste your tears. He does not leave your scars without a plan. The very pain you despise, the very moments you wish you could erase are shaping you, preparing you, and positioning you for the assignment only you can fulfill. The enemy wants you focused on the hurt, on the shame, on the frustration, but God is working in secret. Behind the closed doors of suffering, he is crafting strength, building character, and teaching lessons that no classroom, no book, no easy season could ever teach. Every time you feel crushed, every time the world seems against you, remember this: there is divine purpose behind every trial. The pain is the hand of God molding you, the fire that purifies you, the pruning that prepares you to bear fruit that will last. What seems like destruction is actually preparation for a destiny that your pain alone cannot contain. When life shatters your plans, when your dreams lie in ruins, when betrayal and disappointment surround you like a storm, this is the moment your faith is tested. Many stumble here, many fall, because they are looking at the chaos instead of the Creator. But God is calling you to rise, to stand, to trust him, even when the pieces of your life are scattered on the floor. Faith is not believing only when it is easy. Faith is trusting when there is nothing to hold on to but God himself. It is walking through the valley of pain with the assurance that the hand that holds the universe also holds you. Your brokenness is not a reason to despair. It is an opportunity to exercise your trust in God. When fear whispers that all is lost, when doubt tells you that healing will never come, Let faith roar in your spirit. God is still working. He is still writing your story. The fractures in your life are not the end. They are the canvas on which God paints his glory. Your obedience, your surrender, your unwavering trust in the midst of the storm is what positions you to experience the breakthrough that everyone else is praying for but cannot see because they are focused on their circumstances and not on the God who can turn every broken piece into a masterpiece. From weakness to witness, your weakness is not the end. It is the beginning of a testimony that will shake the heavens and the earth. The world wants you to hide your brokenness, to cover your failures, to pretend that everything is perfect, but God says, bring me your weakness, bring me your pain, bring me your scars. It is in your brokenness that his power is made perfect. The very places where you feel most inadequate, most unworthy, are the places God will use to demonstrate his glory. Every trial, every disappointment, every heartbreak can become a witness for his greatness. People will see your story, and they will know that it was not by your strength, not by your effort, but by the hand of God that you overcame. Your weakness becomes the platform from which God's power is displayed. Do not despise the broken places. Do not hide the wounds. They are evidence that God is still at work, that he is still transforming what was once shame into a testimony that inspires, that delivers, that heals. The world does not need flawless Christians. It needs witnesses of God's grace who have been broken and yet chosen, wounded, yet victorious, tested, yet triumphant. Your weakness, when surrendered to God, becomes a weapon of light against darkness and a beacon of hope for those who feel hopeless. God's refining fire, there is a fire that burns not to destroy, but to purify. When life presses you, when trials press against your soul, when the weight of pain feels unbearable, that is the hand of God refining you. He is not punishing you. He is preparing you. Just as gold must go through fire to be purified, so must your spirit pass through trials to reveal the treasure God has placed within you. Every disappointment, every struggle, every season of waiting is like a flame that strips away the dross, the pride, the self-reliance, and exposes the pure, unshakable faith that can carry his glory. The enemy wants you to believe that suffering is meaningless, that the pain is permanent, but the fire of God is purposeful. It is shaping your character, building endurance, and developing resilience that no comfort can produce. It burns away fear. It burns away doubt. It burns away everything that hinders you from stepping into the destiny God has for you. When the flames surround you, do not run, do not resist, do not complain. Stand in the fire and let it do its work. It is God's way of preparing a vessel worthy of his glory, a life that can withstand storms, and a heart that can carry his presence without compromise, overcoming shame and regret. Shame and regret are chains that the enemy uses to keep you from stepping into your destiny. He wants you to look at your past, at your failures, at your mistakes, and believe that you are disqualified, that God cannot use you, that your story is over. But I declare to you today, God does not see your past the way the enemy does. He sees redemption. He sees restoration. He sees purpose. Every wrong turn, every failure, every painful memory can be transformed into a testimony that brings glory to his name. You cannot allow shame to dictate your future. You cannot let regret paralyze the calling that God has placed on your life. The blood of Jesus wipes away every mark, every condemnation, every accusation. When you surrender your past to God, he turns what was meant for evil into good, what was meant to shame you into a platform to bless others. The enemy wants you to believe that your history defines you, but God says, I am the God of second chances, of new beginnings, of restoration, beyond your imagination. Your past is not your prison. It is the playground of God's power. Every tear you have cried, every burden you have carried, every mistake you have made is being repurposed to build a life that will inspire, heal, and set others free. Shame and regret have no authority over the one whom God has chosen. Despite circumstances, the world will look at your life and see failure, defeat, struggle, and impossibility. But God looks at you and sees choice, destiny, and purpose. You are chosen not because of what you have done, not because of your performance, not because your life is perfect, but because God has set his eyes on you. Circumstances may scream that you are too weak, too broken, too far gone, but God declares that you are his and his calling is greater than your crisis. The enemy wants you to focus on what is happening around you, to give up because the situation seems impossible, but God is working behind the scenes. He is preparing you, positioning you, elevating you, even when it does not look like it. Your struggles, your trials, your defeats are not evidence of God's absence. They are proof that He is at work, refining, shaping, and equipping you for the purpose only you can fulfill. Do not let what is happening around you dictate your faith. Do not allow your environment to determine your destiny. You are chosen, beloved, appointed by God, and nothing in the natural can nullify the calling of the supernatural. The storms will come, the enemies will rise, the pain will press, but the choice of God over your life cannot be overturned by any circumstance, and your obedience to His calling will bring a breakthrough that will silence the critics and glorify His name. Walking in authority through brokenness, do not despise your brokenness, for it is the very place God releases authority through your life. The enemy wants you to feel powerless, defeated, and unworthy, but God shows up in the broken places and turns weakness into power, failure into influence, and pain into authority. When you have been broken by life, by betrayal, by disappointment, you carry a unique authority that the world cannot give, a boldness that comes from having survived what others could not endure. Every scar, every wound, every battle you have faced is a mark of experience that God can use to lead, to minister, and to impact lives. Do not hide your brokenness. Do not be ashamed of your scars, because in those places, God has placed a mantle of authority. The enemy wants to keep you in fear, but the Spirit of God wants to remind you that your testimony, your brokenness, and your endurance are weapons in the hands of the Almighty. When you walk with the courage that comes from surviving, when you speak with the confidence that comes from being refined, you become a beacon of hope, a vessel of power, and a leader for those who are still trapped in despair. God's authority does not come from perfection. It comes from overcoming, from brokenness, and from a heart surrendered to Him. Transformation leads to testimony. Every trial you face, every tear you shed, every moment of brokenness is a seed of transformation planted by God in your life. The enemy wants you to think your suffering is meaningless, that your pain has no purpose. But God is at work behind the scenes, turning every setback into a setup, every wound into a witness. Your story of brokenness is not just about what you have endured. It is about what God is creating in you, shaping in you, and preparing through you. When you surrender to His process, when you allow His Spirit to mold you, the broken pieces of your life become a testimony that can inspire, heal, and deliver others. People will see your life and wonder how you overcame what seemed impossible, how you walked through storms that would have destroyed others, and they will know it was not by your strength, but by the hand of God. Transformation always produces testimony, and testimony always brings glory. Do not despise the process. Do not resent the pain. Every trial, every heartbreak, every difficulty is being used by God to create a life that will not only survive, but will thrive. A life that will not just endure, but will influence. A life that will not just exist, but will testify of the power of God, who takes the broken and makes them whole, who takes the wounded and makes them warriors, who takes the least and makes them legends of His glory. Now hear me clearly. God has been speaking to you through every trial, every tear, every broken moment. Your brokenness is not your failure. It is your calling. He sees your pain and says, "This one I will use." Your faith in the midst of fractures has become your strength. The refining fire has purged doubt, fear, and weakness, shaping you into a vessel for glory. Shame and regret no longer define you, because you are chosen despite circumstances. Every wound, every heartbreak, every moment of despair is being transformed into authority, into testimony, into a life that will inspire, heal, and deliver others. You are broken, but you are chosen. You are wounded, yet victorious. You are tested, yet triumphant. God has turned your trials into purpose, and your story will declare His power, His grace, and His glory to the world. Stand in the truth that your transformation is proof of His covenant, and walk boldly in the freedom, authority, and destiny that He has prepared for you. If this message touched your heart, share what God spoke to you in the comments, and subscribe to David Diga Hernandez Bible Teachings. Let's spread the fire of revival and the freedom of the gospel together. Remember, broken but powerful. Your testimony begins now.